Since leaving office more than a decade ago, former Governor General Adrienne Clarkson has billed taxpayers more than $1.1 million, plus another few $100,000 that wasn't publicly declared for, well, it's not quite clear. I mean, this is not just her, although it sounds like she's been particularly problematic as far as how much she's been racking up in bills for which the taxpayers are on the hook. But Adrienne Clarkson is taking advantage of a program that gives lifetime administrative support to former governors general. The rationale behind this is that a governor general is never quite finished being a public figure, and even when he or she leaves office, they still have all of these things that they're doing for the people of Canada. Well, as a Canadian, I'd rather just have the money back, and I think that's probably where most Canadians are on this. Now, the current Governor General doesn't even like doing any public appearances, even the ones for which she's paid to do as the Governor General. But I would hate to imagine that, say, Julie Payette, after leaving office, would be given an indefinite and seemingly infinite amount of resources when the role isn't quite clear. Adrienne Clarkson gave a very half-hearted defense of what she did in the Globe and Mail, in which she chalked it up to some unpaid speaking engagements she's done, pieces she's written for free, and all of this we're supposed to be grateful for her doing. She said she could have just played golf, but that wasn't an option. Well, at this point, I'd say the golf course is beckoning, because I'd rather her spend some time doing 18 holes than racking up expenses when I'm not, as a Canadian, benefiting from it. And I say this as someone who has very low expectations for the Governor General. It's a ceremonial role. But do I want, 4, 5, 6 former Governors General at some point, conceivably, all going around billing the taxpayers because they still believe they're a public figure, despite no longer having the title or the official residence that suggests they are public figures? Because that's what's happening. And for former prime ministers in Canada, there's an expectation that they go into the private sector, and that's where their money is supposed to come from. We give prime ministers who have left office a pension, of course, which, as much as government pensions are out of hand, I think is reasonable. But at the same time, these do not extend to office supports or administrative benefits. You're in the private sector, you deal with it yourself. And for Adrienne Clarkson, I'd say the same is true. She has a speaking agent, which means that she's able to bring in significant amounts of money for public speaking. She's got a foundation which receives a great deal of money and corporate sponsorship. So I don't like the idea of Canadian taxpayers subsidizing what is now a private sector career. So to all former governors general, the message is simple: cut them off. For the True North Initiative, I'm Andrew Lawton.